straight into what Easy was asking, actually, we could look at the apportionment of the overhead. And as you know, you have your direct, right? Your direct material. I'll call them the three musketeers. You know, it's just a way for you to remember all the time when I talk about the three musketeers. You understand that I'm talking about direct material, direct labor, and overhead, manufacturing overhead, right? You remember that. So if you remember that, you understand that the overhead, obviously, it is indirect. And you've written a paper and you had to answer also somehow that question, because when you were looking at the direct labor and the direct material, what you were saying is that we can trace these things to the actual product that is being manufactured. So you can look at the actual product that is being manufactured. You can see some element of direct material, of the direct labor. And the direct labor, obviously, you know, it's the touch, right? The people who are working and physically handling the product, right? So, but it becomes complicated when we're talking about indirect, because we don't know to trace uh, the glue to specific shoes, for example. You know, we could buy one bottle of glue and we're using it on multiple shoes. It's difficult to really know that we're using this amount for this amount of product that is being manufactured. So that's the whole understanding here, is that we need to be able to apportion the overhead quite accurately in order for us to be able to cost a product. Why is it important to cost a product? Remember, you are an entrepreneur, you understand these things, that whatever you're going to be in, you need to know how to cost properly your services or your products, to cost them properly in order for you to put the correct sell price, and that will determine the profit that you're getting. All right. So it's very vital for any sort of business. If you are wondering, why are we doing this? Why are we wasting our time with this? It's like you would not be in business, you would not be a successful entrepreneur if you don't understand this. And like I said, this is the most important thing. Money talks, right? You need to be able to properly cost your product so that you know how much exactly you're going to be charging and what will be your profit, therefore, right? How much profit? Obviously, you don't want to have a business that is not making profit, right? Okay, so therefore, that's why we're jumping in straight into the apportionment now of that part, the indirect, the overhead. And they're providing to you a couple of methods that you can use. You can use a direct method to apportion the overhead. And one of the most important principle you need to understand about this is that there is the notion of services, right? If you are manufacturing a product, there is not only the manufacturing part that takes place, there is also the servicing that revolves around that. What does that mean? Is that whatever production department you have, that production department cannot function independently, right? You need maintenance, you need payroll, you need sales, the sales department, you need the administrative department. All these departments are helping or are servicing the main manufacturing department. This notion, you will find it in Learning Unit 5, in Learning Unit 6, and in Learning Unit 7. So every time you have a question, what you need to look is that what are the departments that represent the manufacturing? Okay, it can be the assembling. They will tell you the manufacturing department or the production department is maybe the assembling and another department. So this product goes through two main departments. It's like when you manufacturing Tesla, you will have in the production department of Tesla different departments that do the manufacturing. One part can work on the chassis of the car. the other part works on the batteries of the car, and the other part works on the final assembling of the car. Whatever the number of those departments, you just need to be cognizant that the manufacturing is divided into three departments, for example. But now there would be also service department that are helping that, right? For example, HR, people, hiring people, paying people. It is a department, but it is a service department. It is not involving the actual manufacturing. It's just lending a hand, supporting. Let's put it that way. It is supporting the production department, production or manufacturing department. Does that make sense? Perfect. So basically what we want to now find is the overhead. So these service department that are helping the main manufacturing department are using resources. And those resources or activities that they are doing are costing money. And we want to be able to allocate properly what the service department are providing, and we want to be able to represent per unit of production, how much contribution these service department are providing, and how we cost that. All right, so that's where we're going to move into these steps. So now they say there is a way that is a direct method of reassigning those service department costs. So we are taking the cost of the service department and we are reassigning them to the manufacturing department so that we know the actual accurate cost of producing one unit of a particular product. All right, so the direct and step method, let's start there. And you have example 5.4 that is given to you. We have this company called Fulton Industrial Limited, right? You can see that. Guess what you're seeing straight? They tell you there's three service departments. And they explain to you what are the functions of this department and the cost allocation basis. That's very interesting, right? So you have these departments, you have the administrative services. Obviously, all companies will have some administration, right? Human resources, all company will have that. And then they also tell you the plant and facilities. And you can read clearly there, it tells you that the administrative will cover the accounting, auditing, payroll, and inventory control. Human resources, personnel, training, health services, that's what they do, right? But look very carefully here at the reassignment base. Yes, those tables will be provided to you. There is no way that they don't provide. They will tell you that this is the manufacturing. Manufacturing is divided by two departments. The services is divided by this amount of department. Now, pay attention here. You can see here that the following information was provided by the cost accountant. The service department and what here? Look here. There's production department. They tell you that it's mixing and bottling. They tell you there's two production departments, and you can see, for example, what is the direct departmental cost for all these departments. You can see for the service department, for the administrative, it's 162,000 rand. For the human resources, it's 120,000 rand. For the plant and facilities, it's 60,000, right? For the mixing and bottling, as you can see, 240 and 550, as you can see. All right. But what is very important here is what base they're using. So for the human resources, they're using the number of people. Very clearly, they tell you, you need to look at the number of people when you reallocating the cost of the human resources department to the production department. You have to use this basis of the number of employees. And as you can see, for all these departments, they have provided you the number of employees. You have even a total 220 in total. Production and services department, all the people that are involved, it's 220. The square area, it's provided you for all these departments, there is a square area. But the basis for you reallocating the plant and facility is the square meterage. All right. You're looking at the square area. When you are reallocating this cost, which cost? The departmental cost. Look at the departmental cost here of the plant and facility. It's 60,000 rand. So they want you to reallocate based this amount to these two. As you can see here, you can see whatever here needs to be reallocated, okay, to the production department. Okay, so let's jump in. What is the difference, therefore, between the direct as well and the step method? The direct method does not give recognition for interdepartmental uh, 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 um, services. In other words, one department can also be assisting the other department. Of course, it's normal. Like we said, the human resources would be assisting all these departments. Okay. So we also need to take that into account, but not in the direct method. In the direct method, we're going to take the amount here. As you can see, this is what you need to focus on. So the primary apportionment, which is given, I tell you the basis is given. You have the production department of mixing, bottling, and you have the service department, 3 service department. Okay, what you're going to start by doing, obviously, the first step will be to apportion, for example, the plant and facility. You're going to apportion this amount to both the mixing and the bottling, which is the production or manufacturing. But how are you going to divide these amounts? That's basically what it's all about. Okay. The basis for you apportioning this 60,000, like we said, you have to look at the area, the surface area. Simple. And we are not giving recognition for interdepartmental. So we are not going to look at the area of the other service department in the direct method. We're going to jump straight at the area that is covered by the mixing and the bottling. These are the 2 production departments. What is the area for the mixing? 1,375, right? And what is the area for the bottling? At 4,125. Therefore, if we add them together, the total area is 6,000. How do we find this percentage of 25 and 75? We divide the area for the mixing, 1,375 divided by 6,000 multiplied by 100. You know the drill. By now, I trust all of you know the drill. You know how to calculate these things, right? And how are we going to find for the bottling? We take the area of the bottling divided by the total area for production, which is 6,000, right? Multiply by 100. Because why are we doing that? Because the 6,000 is the total area, or 100% of the total area. So that's how we find 25 and 75. Is this clear? Perfect. So what we do is therefore very simple. We take the 60,000 multiply by 25, multiply by 25 divided by 100. Therefore, we will find that if you look at this 25 and 75, it's basically 1/4 and 3/4. Basically, 1/4 and 3/4. So 1/4 must go, 1/4 of the 60,000 must go to the mixing, right? 1/4 must go to the mixing. What is 1/4 of 60,000? I mean, this is just mental calculation. There we go. 15,000. 15,000 and the 3/4 is 45,000. That's how we apportion it. That's all. We do the same thing for the human resources. But this time, the human resources, what must we look at? They tell you the basis for the human resources is the number of people. We don't we don't pay any attention to the interdepartmental. We don't pay any attention. We go straight because this is the direct method. We are directly sending that money to the production department. And we know that there's 48 employees for the mixing, and for the bottling, there is 112 employees. Very simple. What is the percentage there? Here it is, HR percentage. For the bottling is 30%, for the mixing is 70%. What are we going to do? How much money is the human resources? 120. So 30% of 120 must go to the mixing, 70% of 120 must go to the bottling. Man, how easy is this? This is ridiculous. This is not the problem, should not be the problem of anyone. And like I said, even if you tell me, Patrick, I'm really confused right now, but you have all the arrows in the world that I've shown you. You can see the 60,000, how it's being apportioned to the mixing and the bottling. You can see the human resources 120,000, how it's being apportioned to the mixing and bottling. You can clearly see it here. And basically we'll find the total apportionment for the mixing, because that's what it's all about. We want to find the total apportionment that is being given to the production department. We move quickly to the step method, sorry. There is partial recognition. That's what they tell you. There is partial recognition for interdepartmental services. For example, HR. HR helps also the other service department, which in turn also help the production department. So HR is helping all departments, production as well as service department, right? So that's what it means here. Theory again, your theory is linked to your practice. We must determine which department provide the most interdepartmental service first. Because remember, we are only providing partial recognition. Partial. So how they're going to move about, they're going to find which department helps the most the other department, right? And what we're going to do is that that department's total cost is then reassigned to the remaining service department. It gives all its funds to the remaining service department and the production department, right? So as you can see here, we jump quickly. That's why basically they will tell you this. They will tell you the the question, they will allude to the fact, because you need to know which department is provides more service to the others. And they will tell you the first one is human resources. The second one is administrative services, and the last one is plants and facilities. Very simple. This is the sequence. So we're going to start with the human resources. And as you can see, that's how it starts, with the human resources. So now that we are taking care of all the number of employees, oh, wait a minute. So what are we going to do here? Remember this? Remember this that they provided to you at the beginning? Always keep that in mind, right? They tell you the number of employees for all the services and production department, right? So now, excluding the human resources, you have 30, 10, 48, and 112. 30, 10, 30, 10, 48, and 112. What does that mean? It's talking about all the department except the HR. So that's the number, the total number of employee. Because you're going to take HR, right? HR, resources and people, you're going to send them to the other department. That's basically what you're doing. That's so cool. That's finance, right? You are basically saying, I'm sending HR people to the other departments to help them. All right. So we need to find, first of all, what is the total? And then we can find the percentages, right? So then from this 200, we can find, for example, the percentage of each department. This tenure divided by 200. What is the percentage there? Use your calculators. I want to hear from you guys. This is practice. No, 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 no. Use your calculator. 10 divided by 200 multiplied by 100. Come on, guys. 5. There we go, Damon. That's how you find. So you say, okay, 5% of this, 5% of this, of 120,000 will go to which department? Which department has 10 people? The plant and facilities. Plant and facilities, 5%. So now, can you find me 5% of 120? Let's go, guys. We are practicing, please. 120,000 rand multiplied by 5%. 6,000. Now, look here in front of your eyes. What are you seeing here? What amount is being apportioned to the plant and facilities? 6,000. Exactly 6,000. So it's just simple. Super simple. That's all it is. Now, what you need to remember, when we have apportioned everything, the total 120 to all the departments based on their respective proportions, right? We need now to move to the second one, which is going to be the administrative and services. We need to take the money for the administrative and services, which is 162,000. Oh, Easy is asking, so what is that 28,000? Is that what you're asking? Yeah, but what is the percentage of mixing, Easy? Remember? What is the percentage? Look at the amount of people that are in the mixing. 48 people. 48 people divided by 200. Remember this? I showed you this. I showed you this. Look again. This is what gives you all the percentages. So, okay, let me do this. Okay, Easy missed it there. Let me show you. So this is 5%. Okay? Plant plant and facilities. There's 10 people. 10 people divided by 200 gives you 5%. 48 people for mixing. What is that? 48 divided by 200. How many percent is that? Come on, guys, use your calculators. We are not here to, we are here to practice. 24. So it is 24%. So when you are allocating the human resources 120, what is 28%? 24, sorry, 24% of 120. You know how to do this. 120 multiplied by 24 divided by. No, give me the actual number. Yes, 28,800. Easy, give me the full number. Right. Okay. So, but that's good. Everyone is finding this. Okay. So, guys, you get it. It's simple. You take the human resources, you apportion it to all the other departments. Easy. This is the game. Come on, guys. This is easy. Once you understand this principle, can you fail such a question? You can't, because you understand the principle, and the principle must be in line with your theory. So now you have 18,000 that has come from the human resources. Human resources has given 18,000 to the administrative services. What is the total amount or the total cost allocated to the administrative services? Originally, it was 162,000 plus what has come from the human resources, 18,000. It's going to be a new total of 100 and 180,000. Here it is. Here it is, guys. Do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see it? So now you have to apportion now this amount, this new total, to the remaining department. How many remaining departments are there? Mixing, bottling, plant and services. Mixing, bottling, plant and services. All right. So only these three. How do we apportion this amount to these three departments? Remember, for human services, it was 4 departments. To the administrative, the plant, the bottling, the mixing. For the administrative services, only 3 departments. Only 3 departments. Plant, bottling, mixing. All right. How do we apportion this amount? It was provided to you in the question here. How do we apportion? How do we apportion the administrative services? Total departmental capital investment. That's the basis. We need to look at the total departmental. So now we're going to look at the total department of plant and facility. We go back, always keep an eye on what they give you. Oh, I see plant and facilities. The total departmental expenditure is this one, 300,000 plus these two here. That's how we will do our apportionment. So what are we going to do? We're going to add them up all together to have a sum. Are you guys adding these up already as I'm speaking? 300, 1,080,000, 1,620,000. You add them up together. What is the total? Ooh, it's getting in quiet here. Don't be scared of the numbers. There we go. No, somebody wrote 30 million. Who wrote 30 million? That's why I tell you, even for your test, guys, please double check. Don't just write whatever you want to. Please double check. But it's not 30 million. Because if you go with 30 million, you know what's going to happen. All right. So plant, in any case, I was just kidding. Plant and facilities. Now 300,000. 300,000 divided by 3 million. What is it? 10%. All right. You can see it. 300,000 divided by 3 million is what? 10%. Isn't it? So we know that 10% will go to the plant and services. Now, tell me here. Easy again. So I'm going to send 10% of this 180,000. What is 10% of 180,000? It's 18,000. Guess what? That's exactly what I'm going to send to the plant and facility. It's a matter of percentage. It's a matter of percentage. You get the percentage, you do the calculation, you nail it every time. So when these 3 service departments have all of them provided money to the other department, as you can see, this one will also will go here, and this one also will go here. That's how they roll. That's how they roll. And then the final one will be for the plant. And the basis for the plant will be the square meterage, right? We're going to look at the square meterage. We've already spoken about this. and we're gonna apportion also this amount to both the bottling and the mixing. So now we can add all these for the mixing together and all these for the bottling together. Is that crystal clear? What I want is not for you to say, oh, it's too difficult. Can you practice it by yourself? That's all we're asking you. Is practice, it's going to make sense. The logic is there, but sometimes don't just look at it, practice it. Then you can see every single number is fitting together. Now, let me move on. Yes, it's just practice. Guys, there's no jokes about practice. You practice by yourself and you'll be happy. If you find the same answer, you'll be happy. Now, the algebraic is the best method and it's the simplest method. It might look complicated, but it's not. What it just say is that this method allocates all service department costs to service department and to the production department simultaneously, right? So it's just basically gonna work also like we've done again with the percentages. It's all percentages, but they have provided you, for example, a table here. What they want you to understand is that these are the total costs for service one. Service one is 40,000, service two is 49,900. The production one is 102,000 and production two is 118,000. So these are the amounts that have been allocated to these departments. There's two service department, S1 and S2. I mean, it's logical. And then there's two production department, P1 for production one and P2 for production two. And they provide you the amount. But they say this is how you're going to find what exactly is the apportionment for each department, each service to each other, and all this kind of thing. So they say, for example, for S1, they say S1 provides 40% of its cost to P1, or 40% of its resources to P1, or 40% of its activities to P1, 50 to P2, and 10% only 10% to the second service department. They also tell you service 2, it provide P1 with 50%, P2 with 30%, and P3 with 20%. Then it makes sense. So what is S1? So we know S1 is 40,000, right? So that's why we write S1 equals 40,000 plus the money that has been provided by S2. What is the money that has been provided by S2 to S1? S2 provide 20%. So that's why you can see I've written here S2 multiplied by 0,2, which is 20%. If you divide 20 divided by 100, you will find 0,2. You can use your calculator and see that. So that's all it's about. So, but what is S2? How much is S2? 49,900. But plus how much money has been provided to S2 by S1? They tell you here, service provided by S1 to S2 is 10%. That's why you see I write S1 multiplied by 0,1. If you take 10%, 10 divided by 100, you're going to find 0,1. I hope everybody knows this thing. So then it becomes simple. What we do here, as you can see, I've written there bold. It is also in your notebook, right? P1 also you do the same. You look at what is the amount of P1. This is the amount for P1, 102,000. All right. How much has been provided to P1 by S1? Anybody? How much has been 40%? How much has been provided to P1 by S2? 50%. All right. That's what you see here. 0.4 for S1 and 0.5, which is 50% for S2. That's basically all it's about here. Now, what you're going to do is substituting. This is a mathematical method. It's not difficult. You can find it. You just substitute S1 into S2. So you take this S1 here. You see this S1 here. You're going to put it here. That's all. That's all. So you're going to say S2 equal 49,900 plus 0.1 multiplied by the S2. What is the S2? 40,000 plus 0.2 multiplied by S2. So this is going to allow you basically, if you follow this logic, to find what exactly is S2 in amounts. And you're gonna do the same. That amount for S2. This is a simple mathematical method. Very simple. You do now that you have an amount for S2, which is 55,000. You're just gonna replace that 55,000 into S1 now, because S1 equal to 40 plus 0.2 multiplied by S2. What is S2? 55,000. There you go. Then you can find easily what is S1. You can find what is S2. And now you can replace S1 and S2 into P1. You replace. Wherever you see S, you replace it. Wherever you see S2, you replace it.